This week's episode is brought to you by Christian Bowhunters of America. Check them out today at christianbowhunters.org. Consider becoming a member or starting your own chapter. Christian Bowhunters of America. Welcome to Joshua 2415 Outdoors, proudly in partnership with Christian Bowhunters of America.
Live.
So I went into this place that I had planned on since last season. I used to hunt this place a lot, but it got kind of tough to get in and out of for me, especially with the hip problems. But the knee problems are still a big issue. But my son went and helped me put up a stand 4 weeks ago, and I hung a camera and built fake scrapes with the Black Widow lure. I used the branch butter and I used the Scrape Master. And that's the only products that I put in the scrape that day. And I hung a trail camera on it right then. I did not go back to that stand until this past Thursday, which was, I've got my calendar and everything here because I've been filling logs and everything out. So that was on the 10th. I went in there on the 10th in the afternoon of October, and it was destroyed. I mean, the Black Widow scrape that I had built was destroyed. They had built another scrape beside of it. All of the overhanging branches in the cedars were destroyed. Every tree around it, from shoulder size down to, finger size, was rubbed and destroyed. So I pulled the card. I got up in the ladder stand. The ladder stand is really all that I can get up in, and it's a struggle for me to get in that, but I'm no more than I'm going to get to hunt. I want to be able to hunt a little bit out of a ladder stand. Yeah. So I got up in that, got everything set up, and then put the card reader on my phone. And in 4 weeks, there was 1,038 pictures off of that scrape. And there's the best I could tell. I kind of got tired of looking at pictures last night, and I love looking at trail camera pictures, but there was, when I went through that, once I got home and put it on Pam's laptop, where I could really see, there was 6 different bucks that were working that scrape that I'm for sure of 6 different bucks. There are 3 different mature bucks working that scrape. One of them is a pretty wide, heavy frame 8-pointer. One of them is a pretty wide, heavy frame basic 9-pointer, and then from what I could tell on the pictures, he's got about 1.5 inch or 2 inch sticker off of his left G2 that sticks straight out to the side. And then there's a tight rack heavy 8-pointer that's working that. And then there were some small bucks that were coming back and forth. I even had pictures of 2 bucks shoving in the middle of the scrape with their antlers together. It was just one picture. I guess they moved out of frame before it took any more. But that Black Widow scrape, we talked about it earlier in the year because that one farm, I was really having trouble getting deer to come to that scrape. Well, I tell you what, I've quit getting pictures at that farm altogether. I have not had a picture of a deer since me and you put the blind up.
I was going to ask if that was the one where we put the blind up in that. Okay. But
at that farm, deer have completely quit using that corner. I've never seen anything like it because I've killed deer in that corner for years. But when I walked into it, I hunted that stand on the 3rd, a couple weeks ago. And there was lots of sign while I was walking in on other areas around that cornfield. And now there were scrapes, there was rubs, and there was lots of tracks in the dirt. But then once I got around there to where the camera was, and that camera had been knocked over for about a week from that storm. And I really thought that's why I wasn't getting pictures. But there was not even fresh tracks in the dirt. It was just like dead. Now, I know after the corn is harvested, it may be that it just spooked them so bad that all of a sudden that blind is so close to the corn after we set it up with the corn still in, that blind's only like 6 feet away from the first row. So I'm certainly not going to give up on that spot because I've always had great luck there.
Well,
I'm
and
just going to
you've got good camera pictures of some very nice bucks in that area that have already been through there.
prior to. Yes.
Now, are
yes, prior
they just traveling through? It's hard to tell at this point.
Well, I know they don't live on that farm. That farm has a very small amount of timber on it. It has a very small amount of thickets on it. That farm gives me 2 very heavy fence rows that connect large tracts of timber to um, the road that connects another large tract of timber.
Right.
So once the rut gets in and they're really starting to move, that will pick up. But also that corn needs to come out too. As long as you've got corn there, them deer can live in that corn and never come out. There's a ditch that runs through the middle of that corn that's got water in it. The deer can live in it. If you're hunting around large pieces of crops that are still in, mainly corn, because it's tall enough it just hides everything. But if you're hunting around large cornfields right now and you're not seeing deer that you normally see, they're living out there in that cornfield. 9 times out of 10, I believe they're living in that cornfield. And then once the corn is harvested, then those deer just lost all of those hundreds of acres of bedding. They've got to go to the woods. They've got to go to the thickets and the fence rows and all of that stuff. And
Right.
That's when you start having your activity. And then the bucks start running those fence rows, putting their scrapes in, putting the rubs in. And, I have full confidence there will be opportunities to kill deer at that spot. It's just right now is not when it's going to happen.
Right. I think I'm starting to see buck movement pick up quite a bit, and that's what I was going to tell you regarding. And it may be different for our area. I feel like the bucks are starting to move a little more, not consistently, but I've seen a lot more lately. I was telling you I was on. I just talked to one of my brother-in-law that was, he's in Indiana. He said he's not seeing a whole lot of buck movement. He's seeing mostly does and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, so last night when I was on my way to do the night fishing, now I'm traveling all the way through LBL out in the middle of nowhere in Land Between the Lakes to get to this lake. And I am seeing nothing but does, fawns, and bucks all the way there, everywhere.
Yeah.
And some nice bucks just munching grass on the side of the road, picking here and there.
Yeah.
And then on my way back, same thing. They've come back out and they're back out feeding right there along the side of the road. Why in the world they're on the side of the road when they have all this timber and all this land? I don't know. But they were out hot and heavy last night. And it wasn't even that cold either.
Product. No, but it's that good grass product. That grass that the LBL plants down the sides of the road, and for that matter, the grass that's planted down the sides of all the interstates and highways and everything else in areas like that, it's a good quality grass. That's why you always see deer coming into it. They're putting on calories, and it must taste good to them because they're always on it.
They're prepping.
But the insurance companies hate it.
Yeah, they are definitely prepping. From what I've seen, it looks like they're getting ready for the rut.
Oh, they're stocking up. They're stocking up. That deer Thursday evening, after I pulled that card and got up in the tree, I had 5 does and 4 bucks come through that evening, and I could have shot at some of them. I could have made the shot on some of them, but I knew that biggest buck was going to be in that group, or at least I felt like he was going to be in that group that night. And sure enough, he was with them, but he just stayed to where there was no possible way that I felt like he was only 30 yards from me, but there was no way that I felt like that I could 100% know that arrow was going to get to him with the amount of stuff that was possibly in the way.
Right.
And he was such a massive bodied deer compared to the rest of the deer that come through. Um, and then I believe I saw him again this evening building a scrape on the side of that little old woods. That woods is basically about a 3.5 or 4 acre island, and um, it's just an amazing spot. It's one of my favorite places in the world.
Dang, I this is probably the longest cold open that I think we've ever done prior to actually starting the show, and I love it. I feel like we could probably talk all night.
We can, we can. I'm really excited now that it's been a real struggle to get into the woods.
Yeah, and now you're able to get out more.
The few times that I have got to go, and I've only made 3 hunts. We're the 12th day of season, and I've made 3 hunts. That normally that would have been the 12th day of season. I would have made 24 hunts, and hunt morning and evening every day, and I'm just not physically able to do it. But seeing all these deer in the last 2 hunts has really got the wheels turning of excitement and wanting to share it with you and share it with my friends and stuff. And I've been contacted by several other people. Our buddy Daniel contacted me today, and I guess it's their youth season, because the picture he sent me, they were in blaze orange. He said his son almost got a crack at a really good 8-pointer last night, but the deer did not turn to where they needed it to. But I haven't heard from him yet tonight. But there is just so much excitement going on right now, and it's youth season here in Illinois. And I heard 2 shots that were probably within a half mile or a mile of me tonight, and they were single shots. Generally, if I hear a single shot, I figure it's a dead deer. If I hear a second shot,
a follow up,
maybe. If I hear a volley of shots, I just figure, that's a safe deer.
That's either a safe deer or waterfowl season's come in.
Yeah. Have you made it back to your cameras yet?
I have not. I think I'm going to get out there Monday. Monday morning, I think I'm going to go. Actually, I need to go regardless. I've got to check that camera. And I think I'm going to stick around and hunt while I'm at it. I'd love to get a doe down at least a doe at this point in time. I was excited to see that spike show up when I first saw that little 4-point spike show up on that camera. But then I saw the 8-point, and it don't have to get any bigger than that. I'm excited about that 8-pointer.
That's a really pretty deer. He's got a really beautiful rack. The one you sent me, right?
Yes.
The picture you sent me?
Yep.
Yes. That's a beautiful, beautiful deer. I've got so many pictures on this card. Instead of sending you a few pictures of it, I'm going to bring the card to you, just because the pictures are so phenomenal on that Black Widow mock scrape. I think that, especially now that you're on social media, we need to use those pictures as
absolutely
as testimony to the product. I think it is finest. I think it is the finest whitetail products as far as urines and scent wise. I think they're the finest thing that I've ever come across in 42 years of deer hunting.
I mean, now I've obviously I don't have a lot of experience like you do, but just in the different products that I've tried. And then you turning me on to the Black Widow. I've just seen so much success with it. And then Ben Rising, Whitetail Edge, using the Black Widow, and those guys over there. It's just a good product. And that's before we ever got affiliated with Black Widow or anything like that. We were using that product, and it's just a good, solid product.
Speaking of Ben Rising, I saw a update from him. I think I saw it this morning, saying that this coming week is going to be a great week as far as the temperature, the barometric
pressure and temperature is dropping this week. Yes.
Yeah. Everything is going to be falling into place. So a person, I know this podcast may not be out before this week's over for people to listen to, but it's that time of year to be looking at the moon, looking at the weather, checking that the barometer of what it's going to be doing.
Yeah.
And playing those changes and get your butt as much to the woods as you can to have the opportunity to take one.
Also, with that said, and before I need to preface this, I am not knocking DeerCast at all, but going to the DeerCast and seeing the good, bad, times, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But regardless, I don't think we need to focus so much on that. Regardless of whether it's a bad, poor, good, great time to be out there, just get out there. And you never know what's going to happen.
Not going to kill him.
You don't know what's going to happen.
You're not going to kill him on the couch.
Not that that's not accurate. Like I said, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, get out there anyways. And that's something I need to do. I'm not even hunted yet this year, and my season started in September. But I'm biding my time.
Thing about, and I love the hunting apps that we have access to.
Yes.
I love that it gives what they consider the best times and everything.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, whether that says good, bad, or indifferent for that day,
just get out.
You're not going to kill him on the couch. You can't kill him on the couch. The only way you can kill him is to be there. But you yourself need to play the wind. If the wind's not right for a stand, don't go to that stand, because all you're going to do is burn yourself and blow it out. All these helps that we have with apps and stuff, they're all great, but you are still responsible for knowing what the wind's doing right there where you're at and taking advantage of everything that you have. And if an app is part of it, I use the apps.
Absolutely.
If an app is part of it, great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you can't kill him sitting at home.
No.
So,
All right, let's end the cold open, the longest one. Let's officially start this show. Welcome back to Joshua 2415 Outdoors. This is, I think we're on episode 31 or 32. Now, when I put the episode out, it will be out tonight. I'm going to get, after we do the episode, I'm going to go ahead and get the editing and stuff done. So it'll be out either tonight or tomorrow for sure. With that said, we'll jump right in here. Yes, I agree. I enjoy just the conversation between us and the things we have to talk about, and the deer and faith, whatever. It's always enjoy the conversation. Here we are in another one. Yes,
in all of that stuff, there is stuff for you to take away from it. There's stuff for me to take away from it, and if there's stuff for both of us to take away from it, then there's stuff for other people to take away from it.
Absolutely, I agree. And on that note, jumping into this episode, I want to talk a little bit about resilience and what that means for us as outdoorsmen, whether you're a hunter, a fisherman, a hiker, whatever it may be that you're doing in the outdoors, how that resilience applies to you. And also just life in general, what it means to be resilient in all things, whether it's your passion in the outdoors, whether it's your life, your marriage, whatever. Having that resilience and building that resilience in yourself means pushing forward no matter the circumstance, because life is going to hit you. You're going to be hit with all sorts of things in life. As an outdoorsman, as a hunter, you're going to be hit with things, unexpected things while you're out there that you may have not ever thought would happen. So having that resilience and the wherewithal and the willingness to move forward is going to be very important, not only as a hunter and an outdoorsman, but in your life in general. Because as I said, you are definitely going to get hit. We all are. And we just need to remain steadfast and keep pushing forward. Don't give yourself an option. Push forward. If you have a bad hunt, or what you would consider to be a bad hunt, push forward. There's more hunts coming. That's not your only hunt. If you have a situation or circumstance in your life that is bad, push forward. You're going to have better days. You just are. Yeah. And don't develop the mindset of negativity that everyone's out to get me, or I'm just not a good hunter, or whatever the case may be. Do not let yourself develop that mentality, and don't give yourself that option. Positivity is the way. I'm telling you. I promise you. I've been through a lot this past year, and I refuse to to be negative. I'm going to move forward. And I would just encourage everyone listening to do the same. Resilience, build that resiliency within your life, build that resiliency as a person, as a hunter, as an outdoorsman, a fisherman, whatever the case may be in your career. It doesn't matter. Just build that resilience to get you to move forward into better, brighter days. I'm telling you, they're coming.
No, there's no doubt about that. And, it really boils down to how bad do you want it?
Absolutely.
Would you rather, and I'm not saying you, but anybody,
right?
Would somebody rather to live in misery or choose to live in positivity and help move things in that direction? Because good times are coming. There may be more bad times before you get there, but good times are coming. And a lot of times there's good times now, but we get so wrapped up in some small thing and get so drugged down with that, we can't see the good things that are going on around us.
Right. Absolutely.
And, it's sad. It really is sad.
Here's the thing you realize too, life is just way too short to inundate yourself with all these negative things. It's too short. We need to be enjoying the things that we have, appreciating the things we have, learning from our mistakes, because we all make them. I've certainly made my fair share, that stuff that I'm not proud of or happy with, but that's part of moving forward, growing as a person, growing that resiliency, and just and being positive. But definitely, life is way too short for anything, whether it's outdoors related or your life. Life's way too short to be all bent out of shape because you didn't hit that deer, you missed, or you didn't catch that big bass or that big. I want to get sick saying that big catfish. But regardless, the point is, life is just too short. I had to throw that in there. You know what? I think I've said this before. I want to go catfishing, especially being out last night in the dark on this lake by myself, which is kind of, I'm going to be honest, it's kind of terrifying. It's pitch black out there and you're hearing all these sounds.
Yeah.
But it made me want to go catfishing. It made me want to get a catfish pole and just sit out there. And I can admit there is something to just sitting there waiting on that fish, as there is sitting there waiting on that deer. There's just something to it.
That's what it is for me.
There's a sense of peace, just being outdoors. I love being outdoors. Being out there last night and looking up at the stars. It's pitch black dark. You got the moon. You got the stars in the sky. You've got crickets surrounding you. And it's the water. You hear just that little ripple of the water and the fish splashing here and there. That is heaven to me. If there was ever a heaven on earth, which there's not, that would be it though.
And and that's I believe that is why when I am sitting out in the woods or on the water, I believe that is why God reveals these messages to me that relate to something that I see while I am there. Because it really, it's not that I don't write the messages and stuff throughout the rest of the year, but when just in the 3 hunts that I have got to make, all 3 times as I sit there, it's just like he opens my eyes and takes the scales off of my eyes that I can see things so much more clearly and see things in a way that relates to kingdom work. And I love that about being in the outdoors, that when I'm there,
yes,
I feel like I am as close to God as I can get on this side of eternity.
I could not agree more. And another thing I would say to that is because a lot of times also we'll find ourselves in a spiritual wilderness where maybe we don't feel like we're as close as we should be. And that's where I feel like I'm at now. But when I get out there, like last night, and it's just me, it's the wilderness, it's the outdoors, the water, the crickets, the stars, the moon, all these beautiful things. I've never feel closer than when I'm out there. And you really just get to think about and appreciate the environment around you. Can it be terrifying in the pitch black darkness? Absolutely, but it's beautiful nonetheless.
Yeah.
And I
There's
actually,
some horse flies in there.
there's no horse flies now, so thank goodness for that. They can be with their father Satan for all I care. I did spook some does pulling into that lake where it looked like they had just come from drinking water. And they were very close to where I actually ended up pulling up fishing, and they just happy little family, does and fawns, just moving along. It's beautiful. And as hunters, I don't ever want people, which I don't think a lot, especially other hunters, understand. We love those animals. That's God's creation. We love those animals. That's why we pride ourselves on being ethical hunters, because we don't want to see those animals suffer. And we can acknowledge that family of deer that I saw, the many families of deer that I saw last night, especially the mothers and fawns. That's a beautiful thing. I have a great appreciation for those animals. I don't want them to suffer, but that is also a food source for me. It's going to be as soon as I ever get out there and go hunt them. But
there's a doe that lives about a mile and a half, 2 miles from my house, and this year she's had triplets, and it's just every time I see her and those 3 fawns, it just makes me happy. It makes me happy to see that she carried them, that they have made it now to out of spots. They're healthy. And someday I may want to shoot one of them to put in the freezer. But those things just bring me joy. The simple, tonight I watched this ancient raccoon. I watched that dude for 45 minutes. He fed on acorns and stuff under me. And the whole time I'm sitting there watching this raccoon, and he's a huge raccoon, and he was old. I mean, he had so much white on his ears and on his face from just age. And I'm sitting there, and I'm not only just appreciating this beautiful creature that God's got roaming around in this woods, I'm thinking about all the years that this coon has lived maybe in that one draw and walked that path, thousands of times to go pick those acorns up in the fall. And it brings me joy to see that stuff. Does that mean that I'm not going to at some point maybe put him in the freezer? I love barbecued raccoon, but season's not in yet, so he got a free pass tonight.
Yeah. I agree with that sentiment. Also, even though it's frustrating at times when I catch them on my trail cameras and not deer, because as soon as you get that alert, you're like, oh, yes, I got it. There's a deer that showed up, but then you open that application and you see, it's a raccoon. And not only the raccoon, it's that darn rabbit that literally goes to that. This is, again, I think we've mentioned this in a previous podcast. This is how good the black widow scrape is. I kid you not, and I can show you pictures. This rabbit will get all up in that scrape and just start rubbing around in that scrape. The raccoons do the same thing. And then I had a possum show up and go straight to that scrape. I've got more other animals than deer going to that scrape, it feels like. But then the deer also go, and especially that 4-point spike that shows up on there pretty consistently. He loves that scrape. He goes to that scrape, and there's a doe and a fawn that go to that scrape. The 8-pointer that I just happened to catch, I've seen him one time so far, and he didn't work the scrape. He just went directly through it. I'm sure he smelled it, but he just, at least from the picture I got, it was just him passing through.
Yeah. Well, all the other incidental animals that pass those scrapes,
It still brings
Just
joy.
like you see, it does, but
Yeah.
it's just like any. If you have a dog go out in your yard, and they smell where something else has peed or something else has pooped,
They're
the
curious.
dogs go over there, they smell it, they roll in it. It's a curiosity thing. So those scrapes, they attract pretty much everything just because of the smell.
Yeah.
And then, but the deer are there for a totally separate purpose, and
They're there to say, hello, I'm here.
Yeah. And I am so thankful that I did find a few years ago that the videos that Ben Rising puts on, and I had built scrapes before. I had just never had them as successful as after watching his tutorial on doing mock scrapes.
Right. Shout out to Ben Rising and Whitetail Edge.
Yeah. I mean, it's
sure.
off the hook.
They're helpful.
Absolutely off the hook. What do you want people to take away from this resilience podcast?
What would I like people to take away? I think there's a number of things. First of all, like I already talked about, not only in your life and in the outdoors, but I also want to make mention of your spiritual life, being resilient in that, because you're going to take a lot of attacks from the enemy. You just are. And a lot of what's going on in your life and the circumstances that you find yourself in may be a part of that reason. And well, there's no doubt it's a part of that reason. But getting closer to the one who can help you and staying close to Jesus is going to be key in finding that resilience, really in all things. But you have to be willing to do the legwork. You have got to be willing to do that. God is not a dictator. He never has been. He never will be. He will not force you to do anything that you do not want to do. That's why we have free will. You have to be willing to want to help yourself, one, two, be willing to do the work, put in the work that it's going to take to get you there, and three, put in the work that it takes to build a relationship with him, just like you would anyone else, a partner, a friendship, whatever it may be. You still have to do your part. You have to communicate and listen. Something I've not been very good at, and I need to work on. I understand that. There's a lot of things I need to work on, and that's what I'm going to start doing.
We all need to work on.
Right. Just to point myself out for an example, I'm not a perfect person. I don't claim to be, but there are things that I know and I'm aware of that I need to work on spiritually, in life, as an outdoorsman, in all things. There's things that I can improve on, and that's so. If that's the big takeaway, the biggest takeaway, outside of course, getting closer to God, is to take all three of those things. All right, faith, your life. If you're an outdoorsman, take all three of those things and just build off of that. Okay, the mistakes you make, the regrets or whatever it may be, build off that. Learn from those. Be resilient and move forward in whatever it is you're doing. And do not ever let negativity bring you down. Don't let negativity creep into your life. It is a killer for sure. Be as positive as you can be in all things, because I'm telling you, better and brighter things are going to come. It may seem like life and the enemy and all those things are insurmountable and that you'll never get through it, but that is a lie. That is a lie. You will get through those things. You will push forward to better things. It will happen. And don't speak that negativity into your life. Always be looking for a positive outcome. It is possible to do that. I promise you. It is possible to have a positive mindset no matter what's happened to you.
Yeah, I agree.
Just keep pushing forward. Don't give up. You never truly fail until you quit.
Yeah.
Period. You don't fail unless you quit, unless you give up.
There's a saying that I really like that says, an expert at anything was once the novice.
Yeah.
And, You cannot expect to ever get to the point of being good at something if you're not willing to fail and build, fail
Absolutely.
and build.
Every successful person will tell you that.
Yes, if you let getting knocked back or knocked down stop you from moving forward, then knocked down and on the ground is where you will stay. And it is a choice that we each make.
Yep.
I choose not to stay there.
Yeah, exactly.
I choose to move forward.
That's the other thing.
In the box that we live in. Well,
yes.
To ever grow, we have to get out of that box. But that box is so comfortable to stay in.
It can be.
We are willing to step out of that box, even if we keep getting knocked back into that box. If we keep trying to step out of that box, then we will grow as we move out of that box. We will grow and we will expand not only our knowledge, we'll expand what we're comfortable with, we will expand our ability to reach other people, we will expand in any possible way that God wants us to if we will just keep moving forward.
Absolutely. And that's, you mentioned, being knocked down and staying there. That's also, you don't lose to the enemy when you get knocked down. You don't lose to the enemy unless you choose to stay down.
Right.
If you keep pushing forward, building your resiliency, you are winning. You're going to take losses. You're going to have defeats. But you improve and you move forward. You move on. You get better. You learn from that. That's building resiliency. And that's something we all need. That's you can apply that to whatever in life, whatever it is you're doing, your career, your again, outdoors, your relationships, marriage, whatever it may be. You can apply that to all things because you are going to have failures. And like we said, any successful person will tell you they've had many failures before they ever became successful. But they took those failures, they learned from them, they've built a certain resiliency, and they can move forward, and now they're successful people. Do they still make mistakes? Yes. You're never going to get away from that.
No, not if you're continually trying new things.
Nope. But you got to take risks too to get there.
Yeah. If you're going to build on what you have, and I don't mean possessions, but if you're going to build on what you have, you've got to put yourself out there to do it. I love that you have started the Facebook page and putting all the ads and stuff that you've come up with for our affiliates to the podcast. I was excited when my wife saw that today and saw that you had that on there, and she was excited that you had taken that step and done that, because it's just going to help things grow. It'll help those affiliates be known.
Yes.
But
they're already pretty big.
It puts a face to the voice, Mark.
Yes.
It puts a face to the voice. And you are a wonderful person. You're a wonderful partner to do this with. And I'm thrilled that people now have the opportunity to see your goofy face.
It is goofy. I can't deny that. Same thing, buddy. I'm happy that we get to do this together. I'm happy that this I see for me doing the Facebook page was twofold. Because I'm field staff now for shout out to Feathernet Outdoors. So I get to be in communication with the group on there, and then the Black Widow to do that, but also to I don't want to say build our brand. I don't consider it a brand necessarily, but to build upon the ministry and grow that way, so more people are going to be able to see what we do, that we have a passion, and our passion is twofold. It's the outdoors. I'm sorry, threefold.
Yeah.
It's the outdoors, It's faith, family, and the outdoors. Faith is first,
Yes.
family,
Yes.
and then the outdoors. And I love that concept. I love that we have the opportunity to build on that. And I would encourage anyone who hears this, please share the content. If you,
Yes.
like we always say, even if you don't like it, it's just the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Just push it out there. If you don't like it, if you don't agree with it, no, I'm just kidding. But if you do like the content, please feel free to share. Help us get the word out there, because, like I said, this is a ministry. We want to spread the word of Jesus Christ, but we also want to share our passion of the outdoors.
Yeah.
It's relatable.
We're just doing what we felt led to do. That's all we're doing.
Absolutely.
Doing what we felt led to do.
And with that, I think that is a good stopping point. That's another 40-minute. I love it. But if you've made it this far and you've heard any of this, please do that. And also feel free to check out the affiliates. Again, the Black Widow deer lures, that is a product that we have tried before we were ever in any kind of affiliation with them. It's just a good product. The Blackout coffee is good for me because I love what they're about. I love what they stand for. They help the veterans. They're big on helping the veterans. They're big on conservative Christian values, and for me, I appreciate that. And
yes, absolutely,
we wouldn't get behind anyone that we don't agree with.
No, not at all.
And I think that's true for Black Widow. They're very, very good product, very good people there from what I've seen. So, yeah, please.
I'm very impressed.
Like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And I guess with that, we'll go ahead and end this, and we will catch you in the next one. God bless you, and have a great day, night, evening, week, month, year, all the above. See ya.